wildlife protection and habitat restoration. Protecting wildlife and restoring habitats are essential for maintaining biodiversity, ecosystem health, and long-term environmental stability. This lesson covers strategies for restoring degraded habitats, community-based conservation efforts, and legal protections that support Indigenous stewardship. Strategies for restoring degraded habitats. Reforestation and afforestation. Reforestation and afforestation involve planting trees to restore deforested land or create new forests in areas that previously lacked tree cover. Key benefits: prevent soil erosion. Tree roots stabilize the ground and prevent landslides. Restores biodiversity. Provides habitat for birds, insects, and mammals. Absorbs carbon dioxide. Helps combat climate change by storing carbon. Methods of reforestation. Natural regeneration, allowing forests to regrow without human intervention. Assisted planting, planting native tree species in degraded areas. Agroforestry integration, combining tree planting with agriculture for sustainable land use. Example, the Miyawaki method, a dense tree planting technique, has been used worldwide to rapidly regenerate forests in urban and rural areas. Wetland and riparian zone restoration. Wetlands and riparian, riverbank, zones are critical for water purification, flood control, and wildlife habitat. Restoring these areas helps maintain clean water and healthy ecosystems. Key restoration techniques. Removing invasive species, allowing native plants and animals to thrive. Reintroducing wetland plants, such as reeds and cattails, to filter pollutants. Restoring water flow, modifying dams and channels to mimic natural hydrology. Example, the Florida Everglades Restoration Project is a large-scale effort to reverse the damage caused by human development and water mismanagement. Grassland and prairie restoration. Grasslands support diverse wildlife, including pollinators and large herbivores. Overgrazing, agriculture, and urban development have led to grassland degradation, which affects biodiversity. Restoration strategies. Controlled burns. Fire removes invasive species and rejuvenates native plants. Rotational grazing. Moving livestock to prevent overgrazing. Planting native grasses. Restoring plant diversity to support pollinators. Example, the American Prairie Reserve in Montana works to restore native grasslands and reintroduce bison to the ecosystem. Coral reef and marine habitat protection. Oceans provide habitat for countless species, but coral bleaching, overfishing, and pollution threaten marine ecosystems. Methods for marine habitat restoration. Artificial reefs. Submerged structures encourage coral and fish populations. Marine protected areas. Banning fishing and mining in key biodiversity zones. Coral transplanting. Growing coral in nurseries and planting it in damaged areas. Example, the Great Barrier Reef Restoration Project in Australia focuses on coral seeding and reducing human impact on reef ecosystems. Community-based conservation initiatives. Indigenous-led conservation projects. Indigenous communities have successfully protected vast areas of land through traditional ecological knowledge and sustainable management. Key Indigenous conservation strategies. Land-based knowledge sharing. Teaching younger generations about conservation. Seasonal hunting and fishing. Preventing overharvesting and allowing species recovery. Traditional burning techniques, using controlled fire to manage forests and grasslands. Example, the Indigenous Guardian program in Canada trains Indigenous stewards to monitor and manage lands and wildlife within their territories. Wildlife corridors and protected areas. Wildlife corridors connect fragmented habitats, allowing animals to migrate and find resources. Conservation areas help reduce human-wildlife conflicts and prevent species loss. Ways communities support wildlife corridors. Restoring natural pathways. Planting trees and vegetation between habitats. Reducing roadkill risks. Building wildlife overpasses and underpasses. Conserving key migration routes. Protecting areas where animals travel seasonally. Example, the Yellowstone to Yukon Conservation Initiative protects a massive corridor for wolves, grizzly bears, and other species across North America. Sustainable ecotourism and community involvement. Community-based ecotourism provides economic benefits while protecting wildlife. Principles of sustainable ecotourism. Respecting local culture and traditions. Visitors learn from Indigenous guides. Minimizing environmental impact. Using eco-friendly transportation and accommodations. Funding conservation efforts. Ecotourism revenue supports habitat restoration. Example, the Maasai community in Kenya operates wildlife conservancies that protect elephants, lions, and rhinos while providing income for local people. Legal protections and Indigenous stewardship models. International conservation agreements. Global agreements help protect endangered species and ecosystems. Key conservation agreements. Convention on Biological Diversity aims to halt biodiversity loss worldwide. CITES, Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species, regulates trade in wildlife to prevent overexploitation. Ramsar Convention protects wetlands that provide essential habitat for migratory birds. Example, the Amazon rainforest is protected under several international treaties, but enforcement remains a challenge. Indigenous land rights and legal protections. Recognizing Indigenous land rights allow communities to continue traditional stewardship practices that have protected ecosystems for generations. Ways Indigenous land stewardship supports conservation. Recognizing Indigenous land ownership prevents deforestation and habitat destruction. Co-management agreements. Indigenous groups and governments work together to protect natural areas. Sacred site protection. Many Indigenous communities consider certain landscapes sacred and have protected them for centuries. Example, in Australia, the return of Uluru Ayers Rock to the Anagu people allows traditional land management techniques to restore the surrounding ecosystem. Strengthening local conservation laws. Governments and environmental groups can create stronger legal protections for wildlife and ecosystems. Key conservation policies. Banning harmful activities. Protecting forests, wetlands, and marine areas from industrial exploitation. Penalties for poaching and illegal logging. Enforcing laws to deter wildlife crime. Encouraging regenerative land use. Incentivizing sustainable farming and forestry. Example, Costa Rica has banned deforestation, leading to one of the world's most successful reforestation efforts. Conclusion: wildlife population and habitat restoration are essential for preserving biodiversity, combating climate change, and supporting sustainable communities. Restoring degraded habitats through reforestation, wetland recovery, and marine conservation ensures long-term ecosystem health. Community-led conservation efforts, especially Indigenous stewardship, provide effective and time-tested models for protecting nature. Strong legal protections and enforcement are necessary to ensure conservation success for future generations.